Everybody, welcome. This is the Real Estate Investing Mastery Podcast. I'm Joe McCall, and I'm with my good buddy, Peter Vekselman. And we are continuing this series that I started a few weeks ago called Brilliant at the Basics. And let me tell you a little bit about Peter. Peter's a business partner that I've been working with for the last year, maybe year and a half. We met at a mastermind. This is a guy who is just crushing it in the Atlanta, Georgia area, doing a ton of deals. He's averaging, literally, I'm not kidding, a deal a day, about 30 deals a month. And so we actually wrote a book together called Brilliant at the Basics. And you can see Joe McCall and Peter Vekselman as the authors. I did put my name first on here. I give him a hard time about that. But Peter and I have been working together for about a year now, a little bit more actually, helping people all over the country set up their real estate investing businesses. And we've been coaching people, seeing tremendous success, getting people from A to Z 20 times faster than if they were to do it on their own. So I've started this Brilliant at the Basics series, kind of going through this book, and it dawned on me, you know what? Why don't I have Peter do these podcasts with me? Because he's a lot smarter at this stuff, better at this stuff than I even am. Surprise, surprise. But actually, this phrase, brilliant at the basics, is something that Peter came up with. When we coach people, we're constantly reminding them of keep it simple, keep it simple. Focus on the basics. And that's something that Peter is so good at. And I wanted to give Peter a chance to share with our podcast listeners who he is. We're going to start this series again now with Peter working with me on these episodes. And I'm excited about this because if you want to take your business to the next level, you need the stuff that we're going to be talking about in this podcast series. We're going to be giving away a lot of good free information. But our goal in doing this podcast series is to sell you on this book. This is about almost 100-page book where we talk about how to get more leads, more time, more money by being brilliant at the basics. And in this book, we talk about wholesaling, we talk about flipping lease options, we talk about marketing, we talk about systems and outsourcing. But we keep it really, really simple at the basic level of what you need to get going. And Peter and I, we have an ulterior motive to do this. Our goal is to sign up more people into our apprentice program where we'll set up your businesses, we'll set up your systems, we'll do your marketing for you, we'll coach you. You can join our Inner Circle Mastermind, come to Atlanta, see Peter's office, and come to St. Louis if you want. But anyway, that's what this is going to be all about. It's a Brilliant at the Basics podcast series. We've got people from all over the world listening to this. Peter, last time I looked, we had listeners from 146 different countries listening to this podcast. People from all over the world. We're close to 1 million downloads. I'm so pumped and excited about this stuff. So Peter, welcome to the show, my friend. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I guess my question is the reason all these people have been listening to you is because you've been telling them somewhere along the line you're going to get me on here?
That's right.
And it's built slowly over time?
I've been building the anticipation. We've been doing this podcast since 2011. And Alex is my podcast co-host for our normal, regular episodes. We've been doing it for a long time, and Alex and I still do a lot of things together. But from the coaching side of the business and the marketing business, Peter and I have been working together on that side of it. And I wanted to just introduce Peter to everybody on this podcast. I gotta tell everybody too, Peter. I just got back from your office in Atlanta. You just bought this office recently. I mean, you just moved in a few months ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, we increased our space probably about 3-4 months ago.
But you were working mostly out of your house. And,
out of a smaller office, actually, not too far down the road from here.
Okay. And so I went to Atlanta last week just to spend a few hours with Peter and kind of plan out our 2015. And I'm telling you guys, I was blown away. Peter walks the talk. This is a guy, you walk in his office, and almost every square inch of the office is filled with desks and people sitting at the desks doing what? Talking on the phone. talking on the phone, talking to sellers, negotiating deals, talking to buyers, selling them. It's just like a buzz of activity. And then you walk into the other room and they have their board on the wall that has all of these hanging folders on the wall. And each column represents a different phase of the deal. And there must have been like 25, 30 folders on the wall that you could pick up any one of these and see immediately where the deal is at in the stages. You know, is it an inspection? Is it a selling phase, renegotiating phase, or whatever it is? And it moves from left to right. I talked to his team. I talked to his main assistant, which you might see once in a while there in the background in his window behind him, but her name is Julie. You're just doing some amazing things. And we've taken some of our partners, Peter, and they've gone to Atlanta to see you in action in your office and just been blown away by how you're doing. And here's the cool thing, guys. I saw the deals that Peter are doing. I saw the numbers. I see the marketing that's going out. We actually have partners that are sending postcards in Atlanta and having Peter take the calls and close the deals and splitting the profits with our partners. But anyway, it's like you're doing 20, 30 deals a month and you're keeping it so simple. Anybody could do this, right? And you can see the numbers that they're doing. Anyway, so this has been a long introduction, Peter. Would you kind of introduce yourself to people and talk a little bit about what you're doing in Atlanta and why we wrote this book, Brilliant at the Basics? And by the way, guys, if you want to get this book right now, we're selling it for free. We're giving it away for free, but you got to pay shipping and handling. You go to freebasicbook.com, and we'll give you more of those links in a minute. But Peter, give us an introduction to yourself, please.
Sure. Well, first of all, I appreciate everything you said. Again, my name is Peter Vekselman. Been investing for many years. Right about 15 now. Been really at this point all facets of real estate. Private lender or construction company, renovated. Built from the ground up. Done thousands of deals, all kinds of deals, houses, land, apartments. Done things like condo conversions, rezoning of land, and things like that. And really, over the last number of years, have really put it together into what my business looks like now, the model that you saw when you're here in Atlanta. And I say this, and a lot of times people kind of look at it and go, well, that's pretty pompous, that's pretty cocky. But I will tell you, I think the way our model is set up here is like nothing anyone has ever seen or experienced before. And that's why, and I want to tell you a little bit more about it, but that's why, as you and I thought about, well, how do we show people how to do this business? How do we replicate what we're doing? How do we ourselves maybe expose ourselves to more opportunities? We came up with this idea, let's just replicate what works.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's not try to, put different theories together. Let's just take my model that we're already running here and let's replicate it across the United States with our partners. But let me kind of walk you through what our model actually does look like and how it functions. It's got a couple components. The key is what you mentioned a couple times already. When you really break it down, we become brilliant at some very basic functions of real estate. Real estate is not a complicated business. It's not a business where you have to be, a person that knows 60 different things. It's not a business where you have to know certain theories. It's not a business where you have to come with certain kind of education. But it is a business that if you understand the basics of the business, and guess what? What I'm going to share with you about my business right now, there's not going to be too many people that listen to this and say, well, gosh, I've never heard of that. It's all fundamental stuff. The key to what we do here, and the reason we have the numbers that we have here, is we become absolutely brilliant at it. So the philosophy we run here with is that it's not a matter of expanding to the point of that you got 60 things that you mastered. It's a matter of just absolutely drilling down on a couple of key ones and becoming better than anyone else at them. And if you're able to do that, you're able to then to do what it is we do. So here's what our model looks like. We've got a couple components in it. Our number one thing, and this is what you and I talk about all the time, it's marketing. We feel like we market better than anyone else out there in the country right now. Just to give you some numbers, on an average day, my office can receive as many as anywhere from 400 to 600 sellers a
Yeah.
day calling us to sell their properties.
No joke. I'm walking in there and they have a board with all of their callers. You have like a dozen people working in there, Peter.
Mm-hmm.
He's got 2 floors. I think your office is maybe 1,500 square feet, 2,000 square feet maybe. Mm-hmm. And I'm not kidding. Like every room, there's little offices. You know, it's got like 5 people packed in them. But you have these boards on the wall, and they have these goals and targets for every one of their callers on how many sellers they need to talk to every day. And mention that some of your callers, your main callers that take calls and make calls, Peter, what's your goal for them every day to talk to?
Well, our overall goal is we want to talk to about 250 people on a daily basis.
Yeah.
We want to talk to 250 people that we have an opportunity to buy their properties. To do that, we start with a top line number of about 400 to 600 opportunities of people that call us. And you call them callers. We're more sophisticated here. We call them negotiators, and they are. I mean, people that work here, they know what they're doing, and we're here. They're here pounding the phones from 8:30 in the morning till about 9 o'clock at night. And so they're taking these calls, and the goal is to negotiate a deal with the seller. And the sellers are all kinds of people. Could be somebody, calling to sell a $5,000 lot that they own, or it could be somebody calling to sell a $500,000 house, or it could be somebody selling to a small apartment building. So the first part of the model is very intense marketing and very strong negotiating skills. Now, once the callers negotiate these deals, our philosophy here is very simple. We want to be able to monetize every single opportunity that we get. So we monetize in a number of ways. The first way is if it's not a deal. If we get to the point with my negotiators that they just know it's not a deal. Right down the road here, I'm connected with a Century 21 operation, and we have our team of agents there. So if it's a lead that we cannot my negotiators can't negotiate, we just flip it over to my Century 21 office, and they convert that to a listing, and we make money on it that way. The second opportunity, another opportunity could be if it's an upside down person. There's no opportunity to do the deal. At that point, we have a short sale team that we flip the deal to and try to do a short sale. The third opportunity is, is it a lead that we could potentially negotiate to do a deal with? And if that is true, then my negotiators get it negotiated to a certain price. And then it goes into my processing office. You've been there. We have a couple full-time people that work there, and they take these basically agreements that the negotiators have negotiated with the sellers, and it's their job to then convert them into an actual written contract. And so our processors, headed up by Mary, very key team, 3 people there, and that's their goal. The whole time they're getting the contracts in hand, they're holding people's hands from the time the contracts come in hand to come into the office all the way to closing. Just to give you an idea, yesterday we had 18 deals that we put under contract in just one single day. So you can imagine that's a lot of hand-holding. Mm-hmm. So from sellers to let them know what's going on, schedule inspections, all that. Once the contract comes in, we have a full-time inspector that works for us, and they're very qualified, FHA qualified. They go out to the properties, and they actually do full-blown inspections for us. From the renovation standpoint, plus on top of that, Lisa also take pictures.
Now, we have Peter, you're targeting the entire metro area of Atlanta, or just certain pockets?
No, we go after everything from downtown Atlanta, probably about 100 miles in any direction. Okay. So then Lisa, our inspector, goes out, does a full-blown inspection, takes pictures. My negotiators ahead of time negotiate with sellers to get these properties secured, get access to them with lockboxes and stuff like that. So when she comes back brings everything back to us, that's when we have a whole package of this property. No longer do we just have a contract, but we have information, pictures, repair estimates, and that's when we make a determination. Did we negotiate it wrong, based upon the condition of the property? So it actually may go back to our negotiators to renegotiate, or it could be that we're going forward. If we're going forward on the deal, then basically a sales package get put together on that property, and it's given to my sales team because we pre-market pretty much all of our properties. So then it goes into the sales side. We have 4 full-time salespeople, and that's their whole job. Their whole life is just to wake up in the morning and sell, sell, sell.
Their whole lives.
Yeah.
So did you say you had 4 people that do that
4
for you?
full-time. We got licensed agents and non-licensed people that sell. First it goes into the non-licensed world, kind of a preview for all the investors to take a look at, for about 3 or 4 days. And, if it gets past the 3 or 4 days and my sales team is not able to sell it, then we have the licensed agents basically put an MLS, and that's when it gets worldwide exposure. And so that's our model, very intense marketing, very intense negotiating, putting leads in some kind of an environment. Sometimes, I cherry pick the best deals for myself, and as you know, we wholesale the rest. And this is the model that, allows us to do anywhere from 5 to 10 deals consistently on a weekly basis.
And we're going to be talking, guys, on this podcast series we're going to take each of those steps and break them down into really small, actionable items, okay? These podcasts are going to be on average. This one's going to be longer than normal, but on average, we're hoping to make these podcasts anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes long. And just taking apart the business piece by piece, looking at how Peter does it, how I do my deals. Peter is very hands-on. One thing I was really amazed with was every lead that comes in gets a lead sheet filled out. And that would be a great episode right there, is what goes on that lead sheet. What does it look like, But Peter is able to look at these lead sheets. People would come and into his office, or as Peter's walking by, they would say, hey, take a look at this. You look at this lead sheet, and within seconds, you know the area, you see the numbers, the estimated repairs. A lot of times you're just, because you're going through so many leads, you're just looking at the Zestimate value from Zillow, which is a good ballpark figure of what the value might be, and calculating offers based on taking a wild guess at the repairs, taking a guess at the rents, knowing what the ARV is approximately with Zillow. But you're able to make decisions so quickly because that's how you trained your team to do it. And that's something that, whether you want to have a big business as big as Peter's, whether you want to be traveling around the country in our RV, which we could talk about that for a long time. It's so funny talking to Peter. Peter could never do that. But whether you want to travel in your RV and have another team flip deals, whether you're just getting started, this is all things that you can actually learn and start implementing in your real estate investing business today. So that's a good little introduction to Peter, who you are. But we're going to be diving more into depth in future episodes. We're planning on releasing these at least once, maybe twice a week, depending on how many we can get done. We're going to be talking more about how this stuff gets going. But in the meantime, check out this book. It's a book that we did from some webinars. It's called Being Brilliant at the Basics. If you go to freebasicbook.com, freebasicbook.com, Peter and I did a series of 4 webinars. We got them transcribed, put them into a book, and this is actually a lot easier to read than, if you were to read this book, you'd get through those 4 video podcasts or webinars that we did a lot faster because we condensed everything down and we cut out the chit-chat. But you can get it for free, but you just have to pay shipping and handling, which I think, Peter, is $5, maybe $6 or something like that. When you get the book, you're going to be taken to another page where you get some bonuses. You can download the videos from the book. We have some other materials that we can give you. But let me just say this too, Peter, and maybe you could talk about this just briefly, 30, 45 seconds. This apprentice program, this partnering program that we have right now at peterandjoe.com. If somebody wants to right now fill out an application, talk to us about working with us, doing deals in their market, can you talk briefly about that?
Well, and that's exactly what it is. It's ability for us to expand ourselves and look at more opportunities across the United States. But what it really is, it gives that individual, that local partner, that a local apprentice we pick up, it gives them the opportunity to have pretty much the same model I described here. We're going to install something like that right in your office, right in their market around them. Yeah. So, one way to look at it is, this needs to be done if you want to grow a business, whether you want to grow a small business or a large business. So, we're giving you the opportunity to work with us one-on-one. It gives us the opportunity to expand, but most importantly, gives that local individual to walk into a working, operating model from the get-go.
We've got a lot of people that apply. We turn down way more people than we actually take in. But it's a program that is not for everybody, but I'm really proud of it. We've been doing it for a year now. Peter's the guy who does the coaching. We do the weekly mastermind calls. We're going to start doing some more live events in Atlanta and St. Louis. And I'm the guy who does more of the marketing and the systems. We create the websites, the Podio, the voicemails, the direct mail. We give you the cash buyers. We actually do the buyer marketing for you, and we can even do the follow-up marketing. So we've really taken the business that, as Peter and I are doing it, flipping deals all over the country, and combine it in kind of like a done-for-you box that we can give to somebody and start implementing right away. Okay, cool. So guys, go to freebasicbook.com to get this book. So thanks, Peter. We'll talk real soon here. See you guys.
Sounds great. Bye.